Welcome to the desert. That's the EV charging desert. Jonas and I have spent an hour just driving around Preston looking for EV chargers, and we are failing miserably. There's nothing here. There's little Instavolts, 1 or 2 installations, a couple of Ospreys. It is an absolute desert when it comes to EV charging. And we end up here. We're at Houten Summit, just on the outskirts of Preston, and we found one of the oldest chargers you're ever likely to see. This is BP Polar, before BP Pulse became BP Pulse. Well, hi, I'm Dave. Welcome to Dave Takes It On. I'm going to explore what's happening, why this has become a desert, and we're going to introduce you to the oasis that's going to be appearing in the middle of this desert. You find me today at a really busy place. This is the junction of the M6, the M65, and just round the corner, the M61. Now, we've been out for the day with Jonas today, and we've been looking specifically for chargers. And we have found very little. Preston is a really dead area as far as we can find. We've been up to Follett. Now, this is a new retail park. It's an industrial park, and it is the prime place. There's a new retail park gone in. It's got Costa, it's got Subway, it's got an Aldi, everything. No chargers yet. Just round the corner is one of the biggest Asdas in the region. Not a single one. The car park is absolutely massive. There are areas there where there's plenty of space. You could put a big hub in there, but there's nothing at all. Not a single charger in an Asda car park. We've been to several other sites and we're finding very, very little. And we've ended up here today. We're at the Holiday Inn. This is just north of Preston. It's a place called Bamber Bridge. Just north of that is Houten Summit, and that's where we are today. And what we've come across is one BP Polar charger. Now, some of you may not be aware of BP Polar, but this is one of the oldest chargers you'll ever find. This was Polar before BP became BP Pulse. So let's just run through this. When you look at the screen, the first thing you'll see is the software has been updated. So this now reads BP Pulse. This is a 50 kilowatt charger. We've got a CCS2, a Type 2, and we have CHAdeMO. So this is a bit of everything. So when we look here, the normal layout, we've got the screen, we've got the contactless payment method. On this one, this is an old-fashioned one, it's a manual emergency button. So if anything goes wrong, don't know, you can't picture what would go wrong, but if anything goes wrong, just bang that and it cuts the whole power to everything. Now, when we're using this, we've got 2 choices to start with. You can go in as a guest, or you can go in as a member. Now, I have both. So if we go in as a guest, for example, it will tell us 79p, and there you go, £45 credit reservation. So that's quite a hefty, this is a pre-authorization, we used to call it, or we still call it, they call it a credit reservation. So this will charge you immediately £45 to your account. You'll then be paying 75 pence per kilowatt hour, and then when you finish, it should release the £45 and charge you what it is, but be aware that can take several days. If we don't want to do that, I am actually a member. I haven't got my card with me today, so I can't use it. But at this point, I have a Pulse card at home. The reason I don't carry it, I never use these. They're 79 pence. Tesla's about 35p. So guess what? I don't use these. But at this point, if I tap, sorry, no card detected. If I tap my membership card there, that will do it. I can also, at this point, let's see if we can fire this one up. You can also operate this via an app. So let's find on my phone, because I go around the country charging everywhere, I've got all the apps here. I've got the FastNed and the GridServe and the Ionity and the BP Pulse, plus several others. So let's find the BP Pulse, and it's showing up now, charging locations, nearby locations, and this one is down as Bamber Bridge. There we go. Let's find out what it says here. There we go, it's just coming up now. There we go. So this one's showing up as, I'm going to take a screenshot of this. There we go. So this is showing up as Lancaster Way, Buckshaw Village. That's not the right one. There we go. That's BP Pulse for you. Let's find the right one. Oh, that's really interesting. This one doesn't show up on the BP app. Okay, yeah, so the nearest one they're showing is Buckfast Village, which is about 3 miles away. So I can't even find this on the app. So without my membership card, I couldn't use this one at any discounted rates, but not sure they give any. Anyway, so as a guest, you simply do that, you accept that, prepare your card, so that's your payment method. So at this point, present card, £45. Tap it. It does give you very clear warnings what's actually going to happen. So it's saying there £45 is said on the screen. So at this point you tap your card, it will then accept and say yes, we've accepted your card, and at that point you then start charging. Here I would use the CCS2, and because I've got an older Tesla, I would need the adapter to be able to use this CCS2. I could use the Type 2, but this will only give me 11 kilowatt charging, whereas the CCS2 will give me 50 kilowatt charging. And obviously I can't use the CHAdeMO at all. So this is an example of one of the oldest chargers you're likely to see anywhere, apart from some of the really early Ecotricity ones. So Tesla Oasis in the middle of a desert. There's 15 chargers going in here, 15 of the V4 chargers. These are the brand new, advertised as future-proof chargers. Now let me explain. They are designed specifically for use by non-Teslas as well as Teslas. All Tesla superchargers are open to all Teslas. That goes without saying. But the problem with Teslas and Tesla superchargers, all Teslas have the charging port on the left-hand rear side, and all Tesla chargers are on the left-hand side as you reverse into a bay. So all of the Tesla cables, V1, V2 and V3, are really short cables, less than 2 meters long. They're really quite short. So as we pull in, the cable just reaches. There's no excess. You don't need any of these fancy suspension supports to take the weight of the cable, because these cables are only that long. So they are designed for that. However, if you have, for example, a BMW iX4, it has the charger on the right-hand rear. And what that means is you can't reach from a Tesla supercharger there round here. Just doesn't reach. So what they have to do is they have to pull into the next bay and use this charger, which is normally for this bay, plugging it in there. So that blocks 2 bays. So when they introduced the V4 chargers, they made 2 huge changes. The first of those, the V4s have a 4-meter cable. And that means that if your charger's over there, you can pull the cable around really quite easily, and it will go in here really easily. So whether it's on the left rear or the left right makes no difference. If your charging port is on the front, left or right, you would pull into the bay forwards, and then it doesn't matter which side it's on, the cable would reach either way. So the first major change with the V4s is they are designed specifically to be able to be used by all the Teslas, but also all non-Teslas, wherever your charger point is. Second major change with the V4s is this. Now, let me explain very briefly. With a Tesla, we have no apps, no cards, no RFID, nothing like that. When we buy the car, we set up an app, and that app has on it a payment method. It'll be a direct debit, it'll be straight into the bank, it'll be a direct debit card or a credit card. And that is logged onto my account. So my car has my account logged into it. If I have a second car, if my wife has a car, we'll have two accounts, but they can both be the same payment method, but they're just two separate accounts for different cars. Now, when I pull in, or any Tesla pulls into a supercharger, all that happens is we get out, we plug the car in. Now, the charger at that point will talk to the car. It will recognize the car as a Tesla. It will also recognize that that Tesla is locked in to an account which has a payment method. So when a Tesla driver pulls into a Tesla supercharger, we have none of this contactless. We don't need it. The contactless, if you like, is inside the charger effectively. So the car will talk to the charger, they will initiate charging, and then when the car has finished charging, we just simply unplug, put the plug back in the charger, and the charger then will work out how much I've had, and it will automatically deduct that sum before I've driven away from the site. So Tesla drivers don't bother with apps or anything like that. We don't bother with contactless or anything. With the V4s, for the first time ever, Tesla have introduced a terminal for contactless. I have to say, it is one of the neatest terminals I have ever seen. These things, big and clunky, they always fail. The Tesla one is beautiful. We'll put that up in a still shot so you can see it. So you've got a contactless payment, and that means that anyone, whether they've got a Tesla or non-Tesla, can drive in and use contactless, which is universal now. The second thing it does, it will allow you to initiate charges. So whereas with mine, the two talk to each other, the charger and the car, with non-Teslas, the charger can't talk to the car in the same way. So it's all controlled with either with a card for the payment or via an app. So it's a very different. But what the V4s are doing, it just means that every single V4, either immediately or at some point in the future, will be opening up, in my opinion, to all non-Tesla cars. Now, it's not going to happen instantly. The reason for that is Tesla is very concerned to try and avoid queues, and particularly to try and avoid queues of Tesla cars waiting for non-Tesla cars to charge. So we don't want any bad feeling between the cars or between the drivers and Tesla. So what Tesla does is it monitors all of its chargers, and only those which have the capacity to handle both Teslas and non-Teslas from historical data will be opening up. So there's going to be a scheduled startup for this. So don't expect all V4s to immediately be open to all non-Teslas. However, we have seen this in many locations. Let me give you three. The first one we've been to regularly is Trentham Gardens. They've opened up 12 V4 chargers there, and immediately they were installed, they opened the whole site, the V4s and the V3s, to non-Teslas. Tottenham, which was the very first V4 in the UK, that one was immediately opened up to all non-Teslas and Teslas. And the other one is down in Devon, I almost said Cornwall. It's right on the border. So the other one is at Lifton Down. This is on the border of Devon and Cornwall. So for people going on holiday down to Cornwall, it was a bit of a bottleneck because it was V2 chargers and there were only 8 of them, and they were always slow. There was always queues there because it was the only Tesla supercharger in the whole of Devon and Cornwall at one point. It was a nightmare. Well, that's been replaced now with 12 V4 chargers, and that one immediately opened up to non-Teslas as well. So we're seeing a split where some of the V4s just opening up instantly, others they won't be. So don't anticipate that every single one will open up. So that's where we are. These will open up one day. I am absolutely convinced of it because Tesla do want to open up as many chargers as they possibly can. There's also a legal requirement for them to get some of the funds. They have to open them up. So there'll be a combination of both. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I'm Dave. If you have enjoyed this video, please click the like button. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe and click the notification bell. That will allow us to notify you when we next release a video. I'm Dave.